is going on? It is me, Quita, aka Malaysian Quita, and I want to welcome all of you to Sin TV Gaming. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about this game, of course, which is our featured game for the end of this month, as well as the whole of next month. And this is a great game. It's called Onigiri. So we'll be getting into that, going over the basics. But let's get into some Riot talk, shall we? Because there's a lot that I have to there's a lot that I have to let all of you freaks and geeks know. So first off, there are a couple of reasons why I've been kind of gone this whole time. First off, I've just been in and out of being sick. I have not been feeling well at all. It has been an absolute struggle for me in 2017 with my health. So I appreciate all of you, I appreciate for letting me know that you were concerned about my health and you wanted for me to get better. And of course, I got sick again, but I am recovering right now. But I did not want to forget this show, and I love doing Sin TV Gaming. So I just wanted to kind of go over what this show is going to be about. I have some updates. So the first thing that I decided to do is I am going to have some main games that I'm going to be playing. Onigiri is going to be one of them. I also will be playing Terra. I also will be playing Devilian as well, because I really like games that are action based, and I also like that action MMO style. So I'll be playing a lot of those games. Excuse me. So my throat has been sore, so if I keep clearing my throat, you'll have to excuse me. I'm sorry, but that's just how it goes sometimes when you're sick, alright? So I have that going on, and I just decided that I wanted to play a game for a whole entire month. And this is the reason why. I feel that you really can't get the feeling of a game until you spend enough time playing the game itself. And Onigiri is one of these games where it's like an experience. Like, you have to take the time to really understand the game and really play it and really get into it. So then what will happen is at the end of each month, I will do a review of how I feel about the game. And one thing that's very important to me here on Sin TV Gaming is multiculturalism in gaming, and especially being someone who is a person of color. I think a lot of times there are a lot of stereotypes and a lot of misconceptions about people of color who game. Now, one thing that's also important to me is the idea of what is called social equality. And this show is going to be for everybody. So, it doesn't matter, what culture you may come from, we will accept you here. Because it's time for our society to become more open-minded and to become more accepting of differences. This is a very difficult time in our society, so I want to make sure that I'm talking about these issues in an intellectual way instead of how it's sometimes talked about in a very ignorant way. And that's not something that I want to bring to this show. So that's what Sin TV Gaming is. It's smart, intelligent news. I'll be talking about entertainment news. I'll be talking about a lot of multicultural news. And another thing that I'll be doing too, of course, is I'll do interviews and just giving a different perspective, a multicultural and intellectual perspective. And the other question I'm going to ask with the games that I'm playing is, are these games multiculturally accepting? Because what I'm noticing is that there's just not a lot of games that really show things like interracial relationships or things that are games that show just a full range of colors and shades. And I like to play games like that. And I also am someone who is really into, I love Asian pop culture. So we'll also be talking about Asian pop culture on this show as well. So, if you're into Korean dramas, if you are into what they call K-pop, that kind of stuff, we'll be talking about that as well, and giving my opinion, as well as I love to, of course, hear your opinions as well. Now, another thing, if you've noticed on the show page, that I added a Patreon. So I kind of wanted to clarify and explain that there are a couple of reasons why I added the Patreon. Now, I definitely do work hard. This is the other reason why I've been gone too, is because I've been working a lot. And I work hard, and I save as much money as I can, of course, to support this show and being able to bring these interesting things to you. But however, it does take some, money to be able to do that. Now, the reason why I put up the Patreon is, if you want to support Sin TV Gaming and you want this show to get better, and you want the content, of course, to get better, I appreciate, any donation. And I'm not going to be, of course, bringing this up all the time, because, of course, that would be very, very annoying. But that's the reason why I decided to do a Patreon, was because so many people, so many of you freaks and geeks wanted for me to do a Patreon and were interested in supporting the show. Now, I will have rewards, of course, for people who are Patreons, such as you get to play games with me, and depending on the rewards as well, I have a lot of interesting things I'll be doing, such as like a marathon and stuff like that. Like, I'll do like long marathons, but that's the main reason. Like, that's the reason why I decided to open up a Patreon. It's just because I wanted to open it up for many of you freaks and geeks who would like to support the show. And all of the donations, of course, will be going to supporting this show. Now, what are some other things that I want to talk about too before we get into the game today? Well, of course, I was working really hard on getting a gaming chair, because the chair that I currently have right now is very uncomfortable. And then on top of that, it kind of like when I'm sitting in it, it kind of goes down on its own, which means that the actual stand for the chair is going. So I'm just kind of like dealing with it now. And I really would like to get a nice gaming chair. And I found one that is so awesome. It even has the lumbar support, because one thing I'm noticing is, like, when I sit, I don't really sit in the best way. And a lot of these gaming chairs help you to have better support, especially when you are gaming for a very long time, like what I do. So with all of that, our juicy topic of the day. So for those of you who are new to the show, juicy topic of the day is a topic that I find interesting, and something that I would like for all of us to have a dialogue and really be intellectual, and some stuff to think about. So today I'm going to be talking all about why I like white men, okay? Now, the reason why I decided to talk about this is I appreciate all different types of men of all different cultures. But from my experience, I find it very interesting, the perspectives of how people feel about Africans or African Americans being with white people, whether it's being friends with them or being in a relationship with them. So we'll get into that. So let's play some Onigiri. So we'll go over the basics here of Onigiri. So Onigiri, and all of the games I'm going to be playing are going to be what they call controller supported. So there's a couple reasons for this. I decided to go with playing with my controller, and the reason why, it's just because I just felt, I just felt that I was tired of playing with the keyboard and mouse. My hands would get really tired, and of course my controller is not working once again. So this is how you set it up. Now with Onigiri, you should automatically, it should come up and ask you if you would like to use your controller, but sometimes your controller doesn't necessarily like recognize it. So then what you do is you want to go into your settings, then you go to controls, And then here you have, you know, your controller. You can, this is your, you know, keyboard configuration, but here is your actual controller, and you can actually control your sensitivity and everything like that. So okay, so everything should be ready to go here. Let me try this again. I've been having some problems with my controller. I don't know why. I've just been really having issues with this. And for some reason, this is not working for me. It's not moving for me, of course, not working. Isn't that horrible when your like controller does not work the way it's supposed to work? Oh, this is horrible. Okay, so I actually will be right back. I'm gonna work on getting this controller going, and then I will be right back.